Today I'm summarizing a study by Miller, Ott, Cooper, and Liddell called It Just Shifted Everything in Our Family Dynamic, Recalibration Within the Family System in Response to Alzheimer's Disease. It was written in 2002 and looks at how families adjust when a loved one develops Alzheimer's disease. What makes the study stand out is that it focuses on the entire family system rather than just a patient or one main caregiver. The authors use the idea of recalibration, which means the family has to continuously recognize its roles, routines, and communication in response to changes Alzheimer's brings. The idea connects to earlier work like Boss's in 2007 and their research on ambiguous loss, which explains how families grieve someone who is physically present but psychologically changed. The Miller-Ott study builds on that concept by showing how emotional grief also reshapes family communication. Another related study by Wackerbarth and Johnson in 2002 found that families often struggle with decision-making and role expectations around Alzheimer's care. This new study extends that work by showing how and why these role conflicts happen. To understand these family-level changes, the researchers conducted in-depth, semi-structured interviews with people who had close relatives diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Participants were recruited from support groups, community organizations, and personal networks. Each interview lasted about 60 to 90 minutes, and encouraged patients to share detailed experiences about daily challenges, emotional strains, and relationship changes. These interviews were transcribed word for word and analyzed using thematic analytics. The research team repeatedly read the transcripts, coding recurring ideas, and grouped them into patterns, and refined them into major themes. Multiple researchers coded the data to reduce bias and continued interviewing until they reached saturation, meaning no new themes were emerging. The study revealed 5 major ways Alzheimer's reshapes the family system. First, families had to renegotiate roles. Responsibilities such as caregiving, finances, and medical coordination shifted around, often unevenly. This connects back to Wackerbarth and Johnson findings that role confusion and conflict are common in Alzheimer's caregiving. Second, families experienced a significant logistical burden. Much of their communication became task-focused rather than relational, revolving around schedules, safeties, and daily routines. Third, families had described adjusting to a new normal where expectations of their loved ones and rhythm of daily life had to change. Fourth, they experienced ambiguous grief, the feeling of losing someone that's still physically present, an idea suggested by Boss and strongly supported by this study's participants. Finally, families struggled with support legitimacy, meaning they disagreed about who should help, who had authority, and who was doing enough. These findings show that Alzheimer's doesn't just affect memory, it impacts how an entire family communicates, copes, and operates. It emphasizes that support programs need to help families as a unit, not just one single person. If this research were expanded in the future, 2 possibilities stand out. First, studying families across different stages of Alzheimer's could show how recalibration changes over time. And second, researchers could explore what helps families stay emotionally connected or communicate more effectively throughout illness. Understanding those strengths could help future families navigate Alzheimer's with less conflict and more support. In summary, Miller, Ott, and colleagues demonstrates that Alzheimer's disease often reshapes an entire family system. Their in-depth interviews show how families renegotiate roles, shift their communication patterns, and cope with ongoing emotional, practical demands. We're seen alongside studies like Boss 2007 and Wackerbarth and Johnson, it becomes obvious that Alzheimer's requires families to continuously adapt emotionally and relationally.